CNT125, Chapter 12. We just got done talking about UPSs. That leads us into generators. The UPSs are there for filtering the spikes and the sags and so forth, and keeping clean power going to your devices, and also powering your devices for those short outages, the 1 or 2 minute outage while power flickers, or the 5 or 10 minute outage while things shut off and come back on. And they're also there to keep things running long enough to bring generators online if you have a longer power outage, like a tree coming down from a storm or that sort of thing, knocking the power lines out. The generator is a backup power source providing power redundancy in the event of a total blackout. Can be powered by diesel, liquid propane, natural gas, steam, etc. Generators can be combined with large UPSs to ensure clean power is always available. If an organization relies on generator, fuel levels and quality should be checked regularly. In some cases, they actually do test generators and bring them online monthly or on some sort of regular basis to make sure they power up and things function, and switch over to and switch back from generator power. And here's some examples sitting outside of a building. Some are sitting on the roof, some are sitting on a pad outside, etc. Backup systems. The motto is, if you can't do without it, back it up. A backup is literally a copy of an archive for safe purposes, and is there for essential providing fault tolerance and reliability. And are we able to get this data or pull this data when we need it? So step 1, decide what needs to be backed up. Obviously, user and application data, user profile folders, what the user profile is, and configuration files for things like applications, routers, switches, access points, gateways, firewalls, those sorts of things. And you can use a TFTP server to back up and restore your configs. That is something we're going to do in our management lab this week. We are going to use a TFTP server to back up our configurations. Select a backup method. How are you going to back these up? Are you going to use on-site or cloud or a combination of the two? And they say in here, this is the time to use proven and reliable backup methods. This is not the time to experiment. Make sure you have reliable methods, and you can always implement new ones later after you've tested them. So look for backup hardware and software that are compatible with what you have. Make sure your software backup is using error checking. Verify your backup storage medium or system provides sufficient capacity with room to grow. Be aware of how your backup process affects the system. Does it bring part of your network offline, or does the device get really bogged down while it's backing up? So maybe do this at off-peak times. Purchasing decision, how much the backup methods and media cost relevant to the amount that you're storing. Is it very costly or is it inexpensive? Be aware of the degree of manual intervention. Is this something that somebody needs to babysit and literally sit with as it does it nightly or weekly? Make wise choices for advantages and disadvantages of the different media types. When storing data to hard drives, recognize that drives can be installed on computers in a local network, on a WAN, in a NAS device, etc. And maybe that's part of swapping drives in and out for backing things up. Keep your backups secure, including backing up media off-site in the event of a major disaster or fire or flooding. An example of hack, if you're doing most of the backups at the Harrisburg campus, maybe some of your backup media gets stored in another campus. It's pretty much out of the immediate area, but I can still get to it relatively quickly. That would be an option to use or explore. Step 3, decide what types of backup will be done regularly. Full, incremental, or differential, and maybe a rotation for them, because each one might be low load on the network, but only partial, and then the full can catch up, but as a high load, maybe an off-peak time. So think about a plan on when and what type is going to get done for your facility. Decide how often backups are needed. You want to back up maybe daily, maybe partway through the day, or every evening, that sort of thing, depending on how much data is being entered or put into the system. And then develop a backup schedule. I threw this one in here as just an example of, you might do particular incremental backups and then full backups and then a full backup of the whole system after a period of time. This is just one example of a schedule. What works well for your system. And then regularly verify backups are being performed. Got to make sure they're being performed and where they're being stored and etc. They also throw the rule out there of the 3-2-1-1 rule. We should have at least 3 copies, complete copies of the data. 2, save backups on at least 2 different media types. 1, store at least 1 backup copy off-site. And then ensure at least 1 backup copy is stored offline, not plugged into anything. So it can't get affected by maybe a virus or something like that. It's not actually connected to any kind of network. And that's what they show here, about 3 different copies, maybe 2 on drives, 1 in the cloud, one is stored offsite in a company, and 1 is stored, connected to LAN, but 1 is also stored in literally a closet or a cabinet somewhere, kind of thing, locked up. So making sure you have a plan to cover all those bases. And that's the end of chapter. Oh, I'm sorry. One more slide out here. When designing contingency planning and choosing backup options, we need to think about the RTO, recovery time objective, and recovery point objective. Your recovery point objective is looking at how recovery point objective defines how much data loss is acceptable, because you might lose some. It's just the nature of, you might lose some. You might lose files that you were just working on. How much of that is acceptable? And then your recovery time objective defines how much downtime is acceptable. How much downtime is acceptable till we can bring something back online? Is it minutes? Is hours? Is it a day? Is it a day that we can bring everything back online? Those are kind of defining your plans. There is the rest of chapter 12.